Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Our program today is being brought to you by the British School of Excellence and Mr. Philip SYKES. Our show is The Power of Etiquette and Manners, and today we're going to be discussing etiquette and the joys of working remotely. Let's welcome the star of our show, the founder and principal of the British School of Excellence, Mr. Philip SYKES. Hello, welcome.
Friday. Here we are.
It's Friday. Friday again. I'm doing well, sir. Where in the world are you today?
I'm in London at the Lansdowne Club, where I'm a member and where we do a lot of our coaching and training out of.
I've heard a lot about that club. I think Ian Palm Turner did a special report on that from the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show.
That is correct. Absolutely. It's stunning. And so when you come to London, and actually we could even get you to stay here. It's got a swimming pool, it's got gym equipment, squash courts. It's unbelievable.
That sounds very fascinating and intriguing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. So for people who are just joining us for the first time and they're not sure what you do at the British School of Excellence, please share with our viewers and listeners.
Certainly. Well, it's great to be here all the way from London. The British School of Excellence, what do we do? What do we do? Well, that's a big question. And the answer to that is we help you build your confidence and we help you change your life. That's really it in a nutshell. We focus on the power, the importance of etiquette and manners, emotional intelligence, your body language. How do we enter a room with confidence? How do you use a knife and fork, or how do you conduct yourself at the dining table in any country? Really, here at the British School of Excellence, everything we focus on is about how do we show up and how we can build consistency into our lives and build an amazing lifestyle, because this is a choice of a lifestyle. You know, we don't just show up when we need to put our so-called P's and Q's on at an interview and then flop back into our old ways. This is really about, I think for me, summed up by the beautiful, amazing woman from America, Maya Angelou. People forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they will never forget how they made you feel. And that for me is very much part of our DNA here as our organization. And it was very much founded on, in a world where you can be absolutely anything, just be kind. It was founded on putting people at ease in a short space of time, giving people the opportunity to have what can I do for you attitude? How can we support you? How can I help you? And really understand that as human beings, we have a privilege to be a shepherd and guide and steer people through life. And that is a huge privilege. We can either make a massive mess of it, or we can do it in a very dynamic and wonderful way. And where we are in this world as a world, and we as an organization very much thrive on helping people to build their confidence in connecting with one another, that human to human connection. And that really sums up what we do here at the British School of Excellence. And while I'm on here, go and have a look at our website, thebritishschoolofexcellence.com, and you'll be able to navigate around the website, go onto our social media channels, and you will see a lot more. There's a lot more insight from going onto our website.
Thank you so much, Philip. And for those who are listening, we do have the contact information for Philip and his team. It's the BritishSchoolOfExcellence.com, and the email is hello at the British School of Excellence. Fabulous. Well, Philip, there's been a lot in the news recently about people returning back to the office, not returning to the office. I know for me, I spent almost my entire corporate career not working in an office, and I really loved it. I was very appreciative. Where some people love working in the office, but there still is etiquette. There still are manners that need to be followed and instilled as a way of being and a way of working. Yet sometimes people think because they're not in an office or in front of anyone, that all goes out the window. What are your thoughts about that?
Whether you're in an office or outside an office, personally, find that consistency of how you would behave and how you would interact and how you would connect with people on a regular basis. Because just because you're at home doesn't mean you can lay on the couch and try and conduct your business. Think about how important our mindset is. And when you dress, whether it's a jacket and tie or an open collar shirt and a nice pair of trousers or pants in the US, it elevates you how you dress. So when you're at home or working isolated, wherever you might be, think about how you can elevate yourself. And one of the most powerful things is to have a system, a routine, and to conduct yourself in a mannerism as if you were going into a professional environment. And I think that for me is really the key to this whole journey.
Thank you, Philip. I would agree with you. I'm working from home right now and I'm standing. I find that when I'm standing, I feel more fully present. And some people like to sit. So I think even when you're sitting up straight as you are doing right now.
Absolutely. And again, just like you, 99% of the time I'm standing. I just don't have a stand-up desk here. So I've got a small, wonderful little cubicle office that I'm working out of today. Yeah, very much so. Posture's fundamental. How we breathe is fundamental. It is all going to give you that opportunity to elevate yourself, because when we slouch or when we don't understand how important our posture and our breathing is, it actually exhausts us and our chests and our lungs close up and we can't elevate ourselves to an amazing level. And again, when we're speaking with people, you sound very different when you've got a closed up chest and you're all rounded and you don't look after your posture because you're putting this pressure on. I'm not even acting right now. But when you open that up, you can really, as you are standing, Dr. Jacalyn, you're so much more in touch with yourself. You're grounded and you are in the moment. You're present.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Philip. I would love to have you address when we are standing, is it the old suck your stomach in, chest out, shoulders back? What is the proper posture format?
Pretty much that. Your ears should be sort of just over your shoulders. So basically, anyone out there listening to our wonderful program, The Power of Etiquette and Manners, go and stand in front of a mirror and pop a book on your head. This is not old school, finishing school stuff. This is really, really a very solid exercise. Place a hard-covered book that you don't mind if it hits the floor, because it will fall a few times. And I'm a big fan of books. So I don't go around advocating allowing him to damage. But if you find an old book that no one will ever read again, pop it on your head and stand in front of the mirror. And that is your near perfect, well, it is your perfect posture, because it's near impossible to slouch or anything like that. The book will fall off your head. And then start to walk around the room. And if you practice that for 5 to 10 minutes every day for a month, your posture will become so aligned. And it is absolutely noticeable. Many years ago, way before COVID, so I think it was 2017, I was doing some private coaching with a woman who come all the way over from Asia. She was actually from Japan. And when she walked in the first day into the coaching room, her posture was exceptional. And I then went on to ask her, did you grow up doing dance and ballet? And she said, no. Growing up, my grandmother from the age of 3 put a bamboo rod between my back and the shirt or the blouse I was wearing. And when I say she was exquisite when she walked into the room, in the way she walked in, her whole energy, her posture, her rhythm was very, very noticeable. So, for example, Dr. Jacalyn, you look lovely today as always, but if you were slouched or walking into a room with bad posture, you wouldn't make an impact. You might for a split second, but off the back of that, you'd be forgotten, with all due respect.
I agree with you. And what I think is interesting is that our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves, can be reflected in our posture. If we're having a bad day, or head down, shoulders forward, and people see that.
Oh, completely. Well, as you and I have discussed on so many occasions, we ask, I love asking people, do you feel that your mindset can shift the shape of your body, and the shape of your body shift your mindset? And the answer to that is 150%. If you're feeling negative and you might be feeling flat that particular day, your mindset's going to reflect how your body will react. In other words, you'll become more sort of withdrawn, your body language, your posture, you become completely different looking, so to speak, not different in your features, but just your shape of your body becomes very different to when, on the other side of the coin, when you're feeling really positive and energized, your whole body is just unbelievable. It's so solid. It is just unbelievable. So, this is really, really important. And I want to let everyone know out there, it's something to work on. I have to work on my posture. We've all got a default that we go to. And Dr. Jacalyn, back to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes. So I love to talk about remote working, but before we get there, I want to talk about posture. People are around the water cooler. I'm going to use that air quotes, or maybe they are in the cafeteria and they're kind of leaning against the wall and slouching. Is that ever appropriate if you're interested in having a friendly chat with someone while you're in the office?
Look, I think it does lend to a relaxed sort of, it's not the so-called stiffness. And I think, with all due respect, for a few moments leaning against the wall, you're not, as long as you're not almost horizontal to the floor, it's okay. I mean, let's not be fastidious or sticky here and turn our noses up at because someone's leaning, against the wall for a bit and chatting to their mate or fellow work colleague. I don't think we should start pointing fingers at anyone who does that in an office environment, or even if you're outdoors in, wonderful summer's day and you're having a drink and there's a tree and you lean against the tree, so be it. It's wonderful.
I like that. I like that we can take the time to just relax sometimes instead of following all the rules.
100%. It's not this is not so much, I love that word, following the rules. What I want people to understand out there is the power of etiquette and manners are like the traffic lights in society. They're there so we don't bang into each other. They're there to serve us. They're there to support us. It's not this hard, rigid rule, and you must put on a certain accent and behave. This is not about creating arrogance or pompousness or falseness. Be you, but just understand, by bolting on etiquette and manners and incorporating your emotional intelligence, it's just going to elevate you to a completely different level. It's not saying you can't sort of take a load off and just kick back and maybe I'm just here and I'm staring at the ceiling and I'm just thinking a bit. if someone judges me for that, well, then I don't want to know who that person is. I really don't, because this is not what this is all about.
Brilliant. And now, how important is it to hold your stomach in? That's a tough one. I've heard that many times. You have to hold your stomach in and chest back.
Look, when look, some people it's very hard to do so. If you can, pull your stomach in, it also helps you with your posture, because the moment you try and pull your stomach in, it's almost impossible to have bad posture. So pulling your stomach in is actually a very good exercise. You can, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a form of exercise. You can pull your stomach in, hold it for a bit, and then release it, and helps you start to build your core. But also, I think it's something I'm very conscious of. Heaven forbid, I haven't got a massive stomach, but I think wearing clothing that suits your body is very important. Number one, if you are able to sort of show a more flatter stomach, it's going to serve you better. But for some people, it's not important, and some people aren't able to do so. Again, wear clothing that suits you and works for you and your body. And this is.
We're talking today about etiquette and manners, and we're going to turn now into remote work. Let's welcome Mr. Philip Sykes back. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Did we lose one another?
Yes, you were gone just for a second. So
okay, yeah, I'm just thinking about this whole this question that you asked me, and I think for me, wear clothing that works for your figure and your physique, and wear clothing that elevates you. I find in this day and age that so many people don't give any thought to their wardrobes, and I think that's actually quite sad. It's the one opportunity for us to elevate ourselves. It's one opportunity to be proud, and one opportunity to wear something that may be eye-catching. It's almost, without sounding extreme, it's like the male peacock fans its feathers out and looks grand. And this is where I feel, as human beings, we've really lost this importance of clothing. Clothing is very, very important. And do I dress like this every day? Absolutely not. I dress like this when I'm working with students. I dress like this when I'm on the show with you, Dr. Jacalyn. I dress differently at different times. I might wear an open-collared shirt and a blazer. I might even wear a white t-shirt and a blazer, or a white golf shirt, whatever it might be. My point is, I think about what I'm wearing every day. I plan my wardrobe, and I want people to understand the importance of this, because there's actually a term called enclothes cognition. And this is the mindset that it elevates and gives. Sorry, I'm really tongue twisted. The enclosed cognition is very much about giving us that cognition and elevating us to a completely different level. And that's why when we put on a power suit, we feel that much more confident. We feel that we could literally walk into any environment and feel proud and feel energized and feel confident. And I'm really going to put this challenge out there to people to make more of an effort with the clothing they wear and get rid of those dull colors. Get rid of those colors that do nothing for your complexion. Get rid of colors that don't elevate you. Find out what your colors are. There are such wonderful opportunities to get a color analysis on your complexion versus what colors work for you. For example, if I wear beige or khaki, it really drains me. So I'm all about blues, reds, pinks, white, beautiful white shirt with some color on top of that. So just start to understand it. Take a little bit of time, make a big effort, and you will see what this does for you.
I really like that. That makes a lot of sense. I know for me, my go-to is to wear black. And for example, today I put in this hair headband, and I walked down the corner to get something to eat, and I really felt kind of foolish because everyone's wearing shorts and t-shirts. But I thought, oh, this is what I do. So I think it's also
Did anyone compliment you on the way you looked?
No one said anything.
Are they blind? I had a meeting today at one of our at one of the hotels that's around the corner from Buckingham Palace, and again, as I was entering into the hotel to meet our business partner, Hisaki Taku, who's our Japanese business partner all the way from Japan, he's here for a few days, and we had a meeting, and it was the Rubens Hotel, part of the Red Carnation Hotel Group. It's one of the hotel groups that we utilize a lot of coaching and training out of here in Mayfair, called the Mayfair Chesterfield Hotel. It's under the same umbrella. And as I walked in, a really nice American gentleman said, "Love that blazer on you, looks fantastic." And then as I walked in to the hotel, the concierge said, "Don't you look fantastic today?" And that elevates me. That absolutely tickled me pink. It was phenomenal. And do I do that to get the compliments? Yeah, I do. But I do it for me, because there's nothing more important than doing something for yourself. Because when you do it for yourself, you elevate yourself, you feel more confident. And when you get those beautiful compliments, it elevates you even more.
I love when people compliment, and I like to compliment people also. And I think that's something else. This is a completely different show, so we'll table it for later. But when someone gives you a compliment and then you start making excuses,
Never do that.
Never do it. Never do it. So let's go back to remote working.
Yes.
And we've talked about this before, but I also think it's important, is the way we speak. And usually if you're across the conference table from someone or across the desk, you're paying attention, you're looking at them. But with remote working and being on a computer, I find at times people are not. And you and I have discussed this before, but you can see if someone's doing something else while they're on the remote platform, and especially if they have eyeglasses, because the reflection of what they're doing is showing in their glasses, and they're not listening to you.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, how do we speak to people is absolutely fundamental. Professional, polished language skills. I really want to emphasize how important this is. I'm not, again, going back to having to speak the Queen's English. I'm not saying that at all. Choice of words, number one. Secondly, use words that add value and that elevate. Think about words that will get your message across concisely and precisely. You don't need to use big words. We need to cut out the like. Those we need to cut out. And if that is something that people are challenged with, where there are a lot of people in the world, you can take on a speech therapist, someone who can guide you and steer you on that. Firstly. Secondly, this nonchalant, "Hi guys, how are you today?" is too lackadaisical in the work environment. Look, it depending what sort of industry you're in. But hello, ladies and gentlemen, or welcome team. It's wonderful to see you here today. Let's crack on with the meeting. Hi, guys. It doesn't come across as professional. And just yesterday, Dr. Jacalyn, you'll be pleased to know we've just recorded the most wonderful e-learning program called the Polished Graduate. So it's a spin-off from the Polished Professional. And we've tweaked it and honed it, that we're doing this e-learning course where people will, in about a month's time, be able to download it, keep it for life, with workbooks, with challenging exercises. And this is something I reverted to on that course yesterday when I was filming it with our incredible photographer and videographer, is understanding when and how to connect and engage with people, what language to incorporate, and how to utilize it. It is so important. Now, going back to what you said about this disconnect on the so-called Zoom room, the Windows, Google Meet, whatever your platform is, please, ladies and gentlemen, be very considerate and respectful of your audience or who you're connecting with. Because the moment my eyes dip down here and I'm doing this and I'm sort of looking up and I'm pretending to be part of this, for a fact I've just disconnected. I'm not in the zone. I'm not in the show. I'm not in the meeting. We need to be really, really respectful of this. It is so paramount, and I can't emphasize this enough.
Absolutely. And I just want to add on to that if we think we're getting away with it, people see it, they know it, and it registers in our mind. And we say, okay, Susan is not paying attention, doing something else. Now, in terms of etiquette and manners, do we call the person out on it? Hey, Philip, I saw you looking at something else while we were talking. Or do we just say, okay, let it go?
I would bring it back to, hey, everybody, I just really need you to focus up and listen on this. These are some very serious points. So please, if there are any distractions around you, just let it go for the moment. I'm only going to keep you another 10 minutes. Please, I really need your focus and vision. So don't point anyone out unless they continue to do it. Say, Susan, I've just said X, Y, and Z. And rightly so. It's, Dr. Jacalyn, it's the same sort of scenario that if you're presenting from the front of a room and you say to your audience, good day, my name's Dr. Jacalyn, and I've got 30 minutes to address you, and I will be taking questions at the end of my address. Please bear with me. And you start off and someone says, excuse me. You could say, please, sir, please, can we leave this to the end? As I mentioned, I've only got 30 short minutes, and I promise you I'll answer your question at the end. And as you start, excuse me, just put out a big stop sign. Just put your hand out and say, sir, as I said, I'll answer your questions at the end. As I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, and that really does work. Again, we teach that in our presentation skills program. It's so important we know how to connect, but at the same time, we don't dare to embarrass anyone. But if someone oversteps the mark and you've given people clear guidance and steering and instructions, there are certain, what I like to call semi-diplomatic ways to sort of bring that back to ground.
I appreciate that, because it does happen and people can become intimidated. And then what happens is that 30-minute presentation ends up being 15 minutes because you were derailed by answering one person's question.
Absolutely.
Now, something else I'm wondering is, and you and I have discussed this also, is if you're in person, and I know this happened when I was in corporate, there are 2 or 3 people at a team meeting, they always want the floor. They always want to speak. And that happens on Zoom as well. So let's say you and your team, you've got 15 people on the team, and 2 or 3 people are really monopolizing that whole conversation. Do you go to private chat and just type, Steve, please stop talking? Or, how do you handle that?
No, definitely. Private chat is brilliant. Make sure you've hit the private chat, not to all. But definitely say, Steve, I really would like you just to pipe down or put yourself on mute. And this is really, I know we've talked about this ever since the wretched pandemic broke out. We went and did so many programs on Zoom or on digital etiquette and manners and how you conduct yourself in a meeting. Rule number 1, if you're not speaking, mute yourself. That's just a basic rule. That should be obvious. We've been in this industry now, as in using this type of connection for many, many years now. It's not new. So firstly, make sure you're muted. Secondly, in no particular order, make sure you're in a quiet environment, that when you do unmute, there's not a huge amount of noise. Look, in some places it's not possible, but just be considerate and be thoughtful, as if you were speaking to someone face to face. But having said that, people in face to face conversations have lost respect for other people. Next minute, they're looking at their phone while they're talking to you, or they're answering their phone while they're talking to you. Again, that's a whole thing we've spoken about so many times before, Dr. Jacalyn.
We absolutely have, but it warrants repeating because it comes into our head and then we think about something else and then we forget it.
Absolutely.
When we're working remotely, this has been coming up a lot here in the States. People don't want to go back in some cases, and they're kind of adamant about it. So what is the etiquette and manners about even discussing going back to the office? Because people have their reasons for wanting to go back and then for not wanting to go back. And of course, the organizations, maybe they still have a long-term lease on the property and they're paying overhead. Maybe they feel that people are more productive when they're in the office, or there's that bonding, that fostering of team building. What do you think is the right way to handle it?
Well, firstly, my personal opinion, and having, as an organization, we do a huge amount of research into human behavior, into how we show up every day, and mindset, and your emotional intelligence, your etiquette, your manners. We are always looking at this from various angles, and very much with an open growth sort of mindset. But it is known by psychologists, psychiatrists, by the medical world, that even if you're a hermit, you still need to understand how to connect with people, because if you're sitting on the top of your hill and you get a surprise visitor, you're still going to have to greet that person. You're still going to have to, potentially welcome that person. So I know that's a bit of a tongue in cheek, but having said that, let's think about how important it is with that human to human connection. We can do so much more together in a human environment, and not through this medium, not through the Zoom room, the Skype room. This is phenomenal 1 or 2 days a week, but getting out with other people is going to elevate you. It's going to help you with your mindset. It's going to give you the opportunity to come up with more brilliant ideas for yourself, your organization. It's going to give you that elevation, whether we like it or not. And people have become lazy. Oh, it's much easier to stay at home. I don't want the commute. Now, I understand that, but we've all got to do it at some point. We all were doing it. So what's really changed? And I know for a fact that the people that do go into their offices and have started going into their offices are being far more productive. They've been far more dynamic. They're even more motivated. And I'm one of those people that often has time in my studio, and it's just me in my studio, because I've got a team all over the place, one in Poland, one who lives about a 10-minute drive away from me, someone in different parts of the world. And I often feel alone. So I will often choose to pick myself up and go for a walk with a dog and go and have a coffee in a place where there are human beings, and inevitably end up chatting to someone, because it elevates us. It triggers neurons within our mind, within our brains, that trigger us, whether you like it or not.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on that. And something that's come up many times, I've heard other people say this, and I've expressed it myself when I was in corporate, is the commute. That might be one of the main reasons why people don't want to go into the office, because they have to commute or sit in traffic or take public transportation. And then while they're doing this, maybe the public transportation is running late, or they're stuck in traffic. So now they're going to join a meeting that's in person. They're joining it remotely from their vehicle. Is any etiquette matters on this?
If you are going to join it from your vehicle, turn your camera off and make sure you're on mute. And just apologize before, or not even apologize, maybe in the private chat, just say, look, I've had to pull over. I've had a horrendous journey, and please forgive me. Look, accidents happen on the motorway, heaven forbid, but it's one of us. But, at the end of the day, things do happen. But again, for me, Dr. Jacalyn, everything's in preparation. With modern technology, with all due respect, you can check the traffic report. So if you can see that you're going to be going to a meeting at 9 a.m. in the morning, there's rush hour. So what time do I need to be there? And give yourself an extra half an hour, extra 45 minutes. It's tough, because I take public transport into London. I come in on the train, and yes, the train does break down sometimes, or there's a signal failure. And sometimes I do take it to the wire. Like exactly today, I walked into my meeting a minute before 10, and I would have liked to be in at 5:02. But hey, I got there on time. If I'd have got there at 10 or just after 10, I'm already late for my meeting. Fortunately, I know we can communicate and let the person know that my train is delayed. So it's very important that the communication does kick in, as well as the preparation in order to conduct yourself professionally.
Absolutely. And I hate to even bring this topic up, and I'm going to. I have been in an office environment, and you go into the restroom, and the person is on a phone call in the bathroom, and it's a work related call, and you can hear
Yeah.
That's a no.
Well, that's an absolute no. Let's go back to technology. Let's go back to the basics. When you left home back in the day, you couldn't take your phone with you because it was plugged into the wall. Now, all of a sudden, we feel that we can go and have conversations wherever we think it's okay to have a conversation. And if you are having that conversation in the restroom or loo, at least cup your hand over your speaker, because this in itself will block out a lot of your conversation. And you can whisper, because that's a very powerful microphone. The other person on the other end can turn their volume up. And people just need to be a little bit more self-aware about this so-called instantaneous phonology, so to speak. I'll phone someone wherever I feel like it and wherever I feel like it from. And then you get the Mr. Macho who's walking around the foyer, not worrying about anybody else. And they're just talking at the top of their voice. And, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like playing dodgem cars in public spaces. And again, we've talked about this, is I never saw my father, ever walk down the street reading a book or reading a newspaper while they were walking. And people, we've talked about this, Dr. Jacalyn, people falling down manholes because they're not concerned about anyone else. It's me, and I need instant connection, or I need to read this now. And that is, again, really, really quite sad.
It's so true. And I think on that same topic, let's say you work from home and there are family members, or maybe you share a space with a roommate, whatever the case is, and then you have the meeting playing out loud, or you have, let's say you're in a public space even, and you are doing a remote call in, and other people, strangers, are hearing what's going on. And sometimes I think people forget, organizations, corporations, businesses, they might be talking about confidential information, and now other people are hearing that. Even if you go for a walk, for example, and you have your phone with you and your phone's on speaker, you don't know who around is picking up tidbits of what you're saying, and maybe that information is confidential. And by the way, the person on the other end of the phone or the computer, whatever it is, they have no idea that other people can hear what they're saying.
I was going to say it should be common sense, but sense isn't really that common, unfortunately. So, and that's not being facetious. We see it day in and day out. And again, talking at the top of your voice is not necessary. If you and I were in a coffee shop, we wouldn't be talking at the top of our voices. But the moment someone's got a phone in their hand, all of a sudden their voices are elevated for whatever reason. And it is just bad form right across the board. It's insensitive, it's disrespectful, and will we ever make a change? Who knows? I pray and hope we can. And are we going to boil the sea? Absolutely not. But I think by people starting to understand, or even telling people off, excuse me, could you just keep it down? And I'm the first one to do it in a very polite way. You go to a restaurant with your family, and next minute someone's bellowing away on the phone next to you. That is an absolute no-no.
And to make it worse, if they have it on speakerphone, that is just across the board.
What is that? What is that?
True.
I just don't get it. With all due respect, I feel embarrassed, even if I'm driving with my wonderful family, to answer the phone. I say not if it's a close family friend or a family member, but if it's a business-ish type of call, is it appropriate for me to have that call in front of my family? Do they need to hear me babbling away? Unless it's really important. But then I'll say, Kerry, I need to take this call right now. It's something, maybe it's just innate in me. I don't feel comfortable having conversations in public spaces. I really and truly don't.
Well, for good reason. It makes a lot of sense, because sometimes you're talking about sensitive information, even from a personal level. Somebody might be sharing something with you, or maybe they're having a bad day. They're telling you about their feelings. And then all of a sudden other people are hearing it. And I'm sure if you told the person, hey, by the way, 10 people in line at the bank just heard you say that you're depressed, they wouldn't be too happy about it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, we really need to be more cognitively aware of what's going on around us and have situational awareness. We need more self-awareness in our world, in our lives. It is so important. And again, also for our own mental health. Going back to your question and the scenario about going into offices and that sort of thing, it can only add value to your mental health. In other words, help you if you're feeling a bit flat or down, because people will hopefully connect with you and hopefully see that you might need a bit of a chit chat, or might need even a hug. Even that human touch is so important in certain environments. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening to this and whoever will listen to this, that it way outweighs anything compared to being on your own. It really and truly does. And we've got to get used to it again. Maybe that's it. Maybe we don't like this change again. And that's often ingrained in a lot of human beings. We don't like change, or we don't want to accept change, or we don't want to realize the change. But inevitably, change is inevitable.
Change is coming, whether we like it or not. It's always coming. And somebody just said to me the other day that as a result of the pandemic, many of the things that are happening now, people were not prepared for, because they just put it out of their mind. So in other words, you were working from home for 3 years or something and just figured that's the way it was going to be forever. But yet organizations were trying to to figure out the logistics, the finances of it, the culture part of it. How can we bring our people back together? Because I think if you think about Noah and the Ark, for example, the animals went in twos, and people are social creatures. And so when we socialize, then we learn things from each other. And for me, even though I work pretty much alone, with doing these shows, I'm learning constantly because I'm interacting with other people. But if I were just sitting at a desk by myself then I'm not going to be growing. And that's also what we're encouraging here on our platform is education. So at the British School of Excellence, I know that you have your Train the Trainer program. Actually, someone had reached out to us about joining us today. They're going to be taking your course, and they're joining us in July instead. So people from all over the world take Train the Trainer, and that's something that you've done remotely. How do you feel what are the results, I should say, and what are the takeaways from when you've had Train the Trainer remotely versus when it's in person?
That's a great question. I want to say it's actually phenomenal. Look, there's nothing better than doing it in person, but I have to say we've managed to fortunately find a very dynamic way to keep people connected and interacted with the journey, because it's not for the faint-hearted, in the sense of you are joining that course and there's no point of even trying to multitask. You need to be focused, and you need to show up on time, and you need to be very, very present. And it's very much a program that starts on within reason, punctually. Some people have a few technical issues. That's one of those things. We inevitably tend to go over time, but because of all the conversations that take place and all the what we call disruptive learning takes place. And it's Monday to Friday, and it's a good 7, maybe even sometimes an 8-hour day of learning. And for people who haven't done that regularly or aren't used to it, it's exhausting, and it's full on. It's phenomenal. The feedback has been just extraordinary. It often brings tears to my eyes. We're very blessed with the caliber of people that walk through the door. And now, as we speak, where I am now, but obviously not in this room, just upstairs, we've got 13 incredible students joining us from all over the world on our 5-day live Train the Trainer, live in London. And it's the first live in London since March 2020. And we are hugely excited. The preparation has been immense. Leanne has been working her socks off, and we are raring to go. And Leanne sent me through the thumbnail sketch of all the trainers that are joining us this coming week. Oh, my hat. It is so phenomenal. The quality, the caliber is just extraordinary. And I know we as an organization are in for a treat, and I know that the students are in for a treat. So I look forward to reporting back. We're not going to be doing a live next Friday with you. We're going to postpone it and bring people from the cohort of next week onto the Power of Etiquette and Manners on USA Global TV and radio in the near future. But this time next week, we'll be engaging in the most extraordinary immersion of English afternoon tea. And I've got Liam, who was a guest on Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire. He's coming to address our students. You've never seen anyone more passionate or more knowledgeable about tea than Liam, and he's going to spend an hour with our Train the Trainer team before we then literally dive into experiencing a wonderful English afternoon tea. And there might be a spot of champagne thrown in there too.
Congratulations. That sounds fantastic. I think it would be wonderful if you were able to film Liam when he was given the instruction. That could be a whole show in and of itself.
Oh, completely. I've got a surprise for the Train the Trainer students.
Huh?
We've got our photographer coming, and videographer. Yeah, Joshua will be joining us and really giving our students an element of surprise, because what they will be able to do is take this wonderful material that he films and photographs, and they will be able to use that for their portfolios and their social media and their websites and that sort of thing. So it's going to be amazing.
That sounds very exciting. I wish I could be there.
Me too. I really do.
We'll miss you next week, but you'll be back, which is terrific. And I want to thank you for your sponsorship. And also, the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show is going to be on later today, 6 p.m. GMT. What's your experience been like on that program with Helena and Ian?
Oh, remarkable. These are the two things I look so forward to on a Friday. And working with Ian and Helena, I do it often in person or with this wonderful facility of remote connection. We do it remotely as well, and I managed to broadcast from different parts of the world, which is great. They always ask the most wonderful questions. The Royally Rich Show is rich in material, it's rich in education, it's rich in offering, and you couldn't ask for two finer broadcasters. Ian and Helena, they long in the tooth, but not decrepit. I'm teasing. They have so much experience behind them, and anyone out there who hasn't heard of the Royally Rich Show, I would love you to tune in. You'll get so much value from it.
Thank you very much. And we are actually, the three of us, Helena, Ian, and myself, are doing breaking news. And I thought I would share one of the breaking news segments that's going to be airing today. So you can watch breaking news from London every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is 9 p.m. British Summer Time. Let's take a look at today's episode. It's only a couple of minutes.
Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're coming to you live with breaking news from the United Kingdom. Over now to our expert correspondents, Ian Pelham-Turner and Helena Shard.
Breaking news from London this hour. It is hoped that Princess Kate may appear on the balcony at Trooping of the Colour this year. Everything is being put in its place just in case she can do it. This may be the first time that she will be seen again. What do you think, Helena?
Princess Kate, I think, will be on the balcony if she is feeling well. I think there's nothing certain there, and I almost feel that she may be back in the autumn after the summer holidays. But wouldn't it be lovely to see her on the balcony? It would certainly cheer everybody up. But I also feel that she wouldn't want to be the star and take away from the King's birthday parade. But we really, really do hope that we see her.
That's something that I'm sure she's very aware of, is not to overshadow King Charles in one of his times of really great honour. Obviously, it's his official birthday as well. So we will wait and see, but we are told exciting news from afar that it may be the time that Kate comes back on the balcony. So from me, Ian Pelham-Turner.
And from me, Helena Shard.
That's breaking news from London.
There you have it.
Fantastic. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to them, and thank you to you. So, Philip, we're going to wrap up for today. I know you have a lot going on there at that beautiful club. How would you like people to reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you?
Please, anybody who's interested in understanding what we do, go to our website, www.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. We love it connecting on that human-to-human level, phone calls, WhatsApp, Zoom calls. Please do get in touch. We are here to absolutely go above and beyond, and there to serve and there to help guide and steer anybody out there who's interested in elevating themselves to the next level. So I want to thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, as always, for this incredible platform, this huge opportunity to connect and engage with you and whoever's out there listening. I wish you a wonderful weekend and look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time.
Thank you very much, Philip, and thank you to your team and to the British School of Excellence for your continued support and sponsorship. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you. Wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Please do go over to the BritishSchoolOfExcellence.com and take a look at the courses that they're offering. As Philip mentioned, the level and caliber of the individuals who are passing through those halls, so to speak, or taking the courses is truly top notch. And that could be you. That could be you, but you have to make the effort. The effort is to go over to the website, thebritishschoolofexcellence.com, and register for one of their courses, or reach out to Philip and his team directly by emailing hello at the BritishSchoolOfExcellence.com. That's our show for today. It's a wrap. Thanks for being here. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. You can now also download our app on Roku worldwide and Amazon Fire. You can also watch some of our programs on E360 TV as well as Zizzle TV. We'll see you back shortly for our next program. Take care. Bye.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It's just, it will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSD.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.